This is KUGAN CASSIUS for Rifle TV in association with MTK Global. We're at the press conference here for EUBANK Jr. versus QUINLAN, February the 4th on ITV pay-per-view. With me I've got Chris EUBANK Jr. How are you, Chris?
I'm comfortable.
Comfortable.
I'm comfortable.
How did you think that press conference went?
It was interesting. He said a few strange things. He's a weird guy. Maybe it's because he's Australian. I don't know. But yeah, it went well. I learned a lot.
You particularly picked up on his comment about Nigel Benn and your father, saying that it was a laugh. You pulled him up on that to find out what he actually meant by that.
I mean, if he finds it funny, two men, going to war and black eyes and, vicious beatings, if he finds that funny, then he's, like I said, he's going to find February 4th hilarious. There was nothing funny about my father's fight, so I don't know what made him say that, but I guess he'll be laughing on February 4th.
Did you think he was going to be more vocal than what he was?
I saw interviews and newspaper articles that he's saying he's going to come in here and knock me out and take my fans and stuff like that. So yeah, I thought he was going to give it a little bit more of the biggin. His dad was talking up more than he was, which was a bit strange. But I think he just knows. What we stood here when we first before the interview. We stood there in front of the cameras, eye to eye, 2 inches in front of each other, and I felt it, and he felt me, and I looked at him, and he all I saw was regret and fear in his eyes. So that's probably why he didn't have too much to say for himself in the interview afterwards.
I've seen this with quite a few of your opponents, sort of the talk on social media, and then when it comes to the press conference, you're surprised about how less vocal they are when they're in that sort of press conference media environment, where you're kind of the one that's saying, "Well, come on then, what have you got to say?" That kind of thing. Is that the case, or?
I guess it's just, once they actually are here, once it's not a computer screen, and once the keyboard has gone out of the way and it's the man staying in front of you, it's like, oh, well now I've got to go and do or say what I've been saying in these interviews, and they just don't. They understand that they've dug themselves into a very deep hole. And I think that once they actually stand in front of me, they're like, all right, I'm going to stop digging now. I'm going to try and climb out. It's too late.
We're 8 days away from the fight next Saturday. Are you pleased with the way the build-up's gone, the undercard, all the production so far? Are you pleased? I know you're kind of doing your thing and you let your team deal with that part of it, but from what you've seen and been involved in it, are you happy with everything?
I'm over the moon. ITV are really pushing this, and this is a powerful TV station. They have a massive reach. Having people come up to me who don't even know about boxing. I saw you in an advert the other day after I was watching some show on ITV. I saw you in an advert. Yeah. I went and checked out a few of your fights. Yeah, I'm gonna tune in. The reach is massive. Everyone who has a TV in Britain has ITV, which can't be said the same for other channels. So I'm very happy, and this is a great opportunity for me to push boxing to the non-boxing public. This is little kids. This is the elderly. These are people who know nothing about boxing that are being exposed to the sport. They're the ones that are seeing the adverts. They're the ones that are getting an insight into what us as fighters have to go through to build up, and obviously the fight itself. So it's a huge deal, and that's what we deserve as fighters. There's a lot of talent out here in Britain, and we deserve the most exposure we can get. And what more exposure can you want than ITV, a terrestrial TV channel?
Have you been told from ITV or anyone what sort of pay-per-view buys, how many you believe your fight will do? Has that been discussed? Have you thought about that?
This is the first of its kind on ITV, so I don't think anybody can say you're going to get this amount. This is the launching pad. So no, I haven't been told, but we're off to a great start. And after I win the IBO title, become super middleweight world champion, the sky's the limit. These ITV are extremely dedicated to pushing boxing now and to pushing my career forward. So we're gonna see some massive fights on ITV in the future, 2017.
Is right now the most settled you've ever felt in your career?
Physically.
What about mentally?
Mentally, I'm always settled. You can't unsettle me. You know that.
What I'll rephrase that. The fact that you've gone from one promoter to another and one broadcaster to another, but do you feel like now that this could be your foreseeable future? And I mean settled in that respect more than fighting terms.
This is it. This is what we're here for. This isn't. We're not doing this to just. It's not a one-night stand. We're in for the long haul. The goal is to have a long career broadcasting great fight shows on ITV. And if all goes to plan, which I'm sure it will, that's exactly what's going to happen.
Just want to go back to the press conference. Obviously, before you and Reynold Quinlan had your part, your dad was on the stage for a good 15 minutes, and one of the notable quotes from that was that he said that Andre Ward couldn't live with you. When you hear that, what goes through your head? Is that you think, well, that's right, or do you think your dad's hyping it up, or what goes through your brain when you hear your dad say something like that?
I'm focused on the super middleweight and the middleweight division. Andre Ward is not either one of those, so I'm not focusing on that. Andre Ward, great fighter. My father can say the things he wants to say. In my opinion, if you put me in the ring with somebody, I'm going to fight away, beat them. I don't care who you are. But my focus is firmly on the super middleweight and the middleweight division. I'm not looking at any light heavyweights. That's my thoughts.
You said this to me in our interview before. You said, put someone in front of me, you'll find a way to beat them. You can imagine what cynical people will turn around and say to you, well, what happened with Billy Joe Saunders then? Why didn't you find a way to beat him? How would you answer that?
How I would answer that is I did find a way to beat him. In my opinion, I did beat him. And the way I found it was in the 5th round to completely change my style around and dominate the entire part of that next fight, the entire half of the next fight. That was the way I found a way to beat him. It's just unfortunate for me that the judges, or 2 of the judges out of the 3, didn't see it that way. But in my opinion, I beat him. And in my opinion, I'm the better fighter. And when we do fight again, that fight won't go past the 4th round, because how I started in that 5th, 6th round is how I'll start from round 1. And you all saw what happened when I turned up. He had nothing.
But we do seem at a point now where that fight doesn't seem like it's an immediate, realistic possibility. Do you see it like that, or not?
Listen, with boxing, you can't, Who saw Kell Brook fighting Gennady Golovkin? Did you see that fight?
No. So
you can't plan, and you can't say, oh, I don't see that fight happening, or I see that fight happening. You got to just ride the wave. All I know is the demand is there.
After James DeGale's draw with Badu Jack, you tweeted and said that you want to come for the rest of DeGale's teeth.
I want the rest of those teeth. there's nothing more to say about it. I know I can beat the man. I know what he is. I don't rate him as a fighter, and I want the rest of those teeth.
You don't rate him as a fighter. Do you rate what he's done and accomplished in his career so far?
I respect any man that gets into the ring. I respect any man who has the balls to go in there and fight another man one-on-one in front of large audiences, put their pride in their and their health on the line. But this guy is not. There's nothing I see in his fighting style which I rate. He gets hit for fun. He has one pace. And I dominate him just like I did in that sparring session all those years ago. He knows what happened. I know what happened. You all don't know what happens. You all just pick sides. Oh, I like EUBANK, so yeah, he battered DeGALE, or I don't like EUBANK, so DeGALE definitely won that sparring session. You'll never know until the fight's been made. So let's make it. ITV 2017, DeGALE. I'm about to become IBO Superweight World Champion. I want your title. I want your teeth too, so let's go. Let's get it on.
You're fighting at super middleweight, but you haven't sort of said that that's the weight you're going to continue at. If you can get the fights at middleweight or super middleweight, you'll go where that is. Is that how it's going to work for you?
That is how it's going to work. That's the only way you can deal with boxing. You can't plan. You can't say, oh, I'm going to fight him, then I'm going to fight him, then I'll fight him, and fight for that title. You know, it just doesn't work like that. You've just got to basically, you've got to ride the wave. You've got to go. You've got to take the options that are put in front of you. So after I've won this world title, I'll sit down and I'll see what's open to me. If that's a fight with DeGALE, I'll take that. If Saunders pops up, I'll take that. If Golovkin comes out of the woodworks, I'll take that. There is no set, oh, I'm staying at super middleweight, or I'm only sticking to middleweight after this. You know, it's all open. It's whatever options come first.
A name that always pops up, or has done over the last 2 or 3 years, is Jamie Cox. What do you think about that fight?
I don't know who he is. Who's Jamie
Who's
Cox?
with Frank Warren. Well, if you don't know who he is, then obviously there's pointless me sort of continuing with the question. But you must have had that name thrown at you, Jamie Cox, before.
I get names thrown at me all the time. I mean, I know who they are. I don't know the kid.
Okay, fair enough. But there's so many fights there that can be made. Like I said, at either of those two weights. And as boxing fans, we just, we want to see you pitted with the best. So do you believe 2017 we will see that?
You'll see me step up in opponents 100% 2017. This fight here puts me in a position to challenge for all other world titles. This platform puts me in a position for those fights to be made much more easier than it was before, where I had to be dealing with all these other promoters getting involved. Now that's all, the middlemen have been cut out. We're with the broadcasters. 2017 is going to be a very, very exciting year for boxing and for me.
With the preparation leading up to this fight, people saying that you're training yourself, people say that, they're seeing Snapchats of you sparring Dizzy Rascal. What can you make comment on that, especially about you training yourself for this fight?
I've trained myself my entire career. I've always had the guidance of Ronnie Davis, my father, but,
Excuse me.
as far as who's setting the pace, who's telling me how many rounds I've got to do and how many miles I've got to run each day and what I've got to eat, that's always been me. It's always been me. So, that's just how it's the type of fighter I am. I'm my own man. I have my own way of thinking. I know what I need to do. I'm not one of these fighters that needs somebody standing next to them all the time saying, one more round, or go hard the last 30 seconds. You got to do the 6-mile run tomorrow. I don't need that. I'm pushing myself 100% all the time without somebody in my ear, because I know what's on the line. I know all our eyes are on me. So in that sense, I don't need a trainer. But Ronnie Davis, my father, of course, they're always around me. They're always advising. They're always involved in what I'm doing.
But what about when you get to, this is going to come sooner rather than later, and you're fighting an elite middle or super middleweight where you need to think about strategy, experience, and that corner talk that has become so vital to some fighters in turning the tide of fights. What do you do then? Or who do you rely on then?
I rely on me. I don't.
But even for those fights of those magnitudes, the Golovkins, whoever's, the James DeGales.
So what are you telling me, that somebody who's sitting down at the side of the ring is going to say something to me which is going to make me then go and be able to beat these guys? Is that what you're trying to say? Is that what you're saying other fighters need?
I'm not saying they need it, but I'm saying it has...
If that's what other fighters use to get themselves through fights...
Yeah, but you're saying other fighters, the best fighters in the world have all had trainers, and those corner instructions with...
I'm not them.
Okay, fair enough.
Every fighter is different. I have my own path. When I'm in that ring, my father's in my corner, Ronnie Davis is in the corner. They say things every once in a while, but they know that I've got my own mind, and I'm gonna do what I need to do. That's just how I am. Strategy, of course, they go over strategy with me. Before a fight, this, I reckon that's his weakness, and you work on it. I think you should work on that. And this guy's susceptible to the right hand. He keeps his hand low. All that stuff is talked over, of course. But that's not what wins. That is not what's going to win me a fight. You can strategize and analyze all you want. Once you get in that ring and you get punched in the teeth for the first time, then it's like, okay, your mind isn't thinking, or my mind isn't thinking, what did my corner say? What did my trainer tell me to do? My mind's thinking, okay, now it's my turn, and I'm gonna get you any way I can. That's me. That's who I am.
So, just finally on this, you don't believe that at any point in these fights against, like I said, I'm going straight for the top because you're there. You don't believe that corner's advice could benefit you in any way, shape, or form?
I never said that. I didn't say it wouldn't benefit me. I told you they say things to me in the corner. I just said that isn't gonna win me a fight. I'm gonna win me the fight.
8 days away now. Obviously, you've got media stuff next week, but what would you be doing now between today, Friday, and next week's weigh-in?
Got sparring on Saturday.
Is that your last sparring session?
Last sparring session. Which will be filmed on Snapchat as usual if you want to tune in. At Chris EUBANK Jr. and Instagram. And then after that, you start bringing it down. I've been training intensely now for about 5 weeks. Scratch that. I've been training intensely now for 14 years. But obviously since this fight was announced, I've been training for this man since the fight was announced for about 4 or 5 weeks. And I've pretty much peaked now. So come Monday, still be in the gym, but just a little bit less intense as the days go on leading towards the fight. You slow down, you save your energy, and you get ready for war.
All right. Well, Chris EUBANK Jr., thank you very much for talking to IFL TV. Like I said, some big names coming over for your fight next week, including Andre Ward himself, so should be an interesting week.
It's going to be a hell of a show. 10 quid. David Price, John Ryder, Adam Metches, Christian Hammer, Kid Galahad. What's the other kid's name? He just got added to the bill.
Selby?
Selby. You can't argue. £10, you can't argue. People want to argue because, you know, no one wants to pay for a fight. Everyone wants to watch something for free, as I told you before. So when there's a price tag on something, people get a bit upset. But trust me, you're getting a very good deal. £10 is a steal for what you guys are going to be seeing on February 4th.
What can you buy for a tenner anyway these days?
Two pints and a packet of beer and a packet of peanuts in a pub.
That might be in Brighton. You couldn't even get them peanuts in London for a tenner.
Exactly. So what would you rather? Would you rather a pint of beer sitting in a pub, or would you rather, you know, having some championship boxing? You know, I know which one I'd rather pick.
All right, Chris. Listen, best of luck in the remainder of your preparations for next Saturday. So, yeah, go on to itvboxoffice.co.uk. Got to register if you haven't already bought a ticket.
It's going to be a hell of a night.
Thank you very much.